Hey guys, today we're going to talk about Cynthia Ryland's endings to stories. Our first type of ending is our solution ending. And so, we're going to look at Angel for Solomon Singer. Cynthia Ryland ends this story this way. Actually, she begins the story this way. She said, Solomon Singer lived in a hotel for men near the corner of Columbus Avenue and 85th Street in New York City, and he did not like it. The hotel had none of the things he loved. And when we skip ahead to the end, it says, Solomon Singer has found a place he loves, and he doesn't feel lonely anymore. And if you are ever near the Westway Cafe, wishing instead you were in a field of conversational crickets beneath the shining stars, go inside. An angel will take your order, and Solomon Singer will smile and make you feel you are home. And so we call this the solution ending. The problem was he was lonely and he didn't like where he lived, but by the end of the book, he likes New York City and he has found a friend at the Westway Cafe. And so that makes the reader glad that the problem and the solution are complete and the book feels over. It's like the happily ever ending where we're like, oh, yes, the problem is solved. The second type of ending is from the book Appalachia, The Voices of Sleeping Birds. And unfortunately, I left my book at school, and so I don't have that part of the book with me here at home. But basically, in the book, Cynthia Rylant writes about spring, summer, winter, and fall. And then at the end of the book, she goes back and mentions one thing about summer, spring, winter, and fall. And so feel like this is part of a cycle. The story is going to go on after the book is over because Appalachia will always be there, and the way the people and animals and the way nature is, that story will continue on and cycle over and over. And the third type of ending is from our book, The Relatives Came. And let me go back to the beginning. Boop. A little bit more. Oops, past it. It said, it was the summer of the year when the relatives came. They came up from Virginia and they left when their grapes were nearly purple enough to pick, but not quite. I've got to borrow the book again. Hold on. My loan expired. I wasn't finished yet. Let's see. Yes. And then this part I wanted to share. It says they drove all day long and into the night. And while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and the different mountains, and they thought about their almost purple grapes back home. They thought about Virginia, but they thought about us too, waiting. So on this one, when you go to the end of the story, after all the eating and fixing and breathing, it says, the relatives drove on all day long and into the night, and while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and the different mountains, and they thought about their dark purple grapes waiting at home in Virginia. But they thought about us too, missing them, and they missed us. And so we call this ending the connect the end to the beginning. And so in this story, Cynthia connects the beginning to the end because first she sends the relatives to West Virginia and they see the strange houses and the different mountains. But then when this trip is over, she sends them back home the same way. And they see the different mountains and the strange houses. And then she has the connection of the grapes. Now the grapes are dark purple. And so that gives the reader a sense of closure too, that the family has gone all the way back around. So a lot of our stories are about trips that we've taken, and so this might be a good ending if you're going on a trip. And so your characters are going on a trip in a story, not you, because this story is not about you. This story is about your characters. And so as you're working on these drafts this week, really think about how you're setting up your character to solve a problem or to deal with some conflict. Might not be like a problem, but something that they're stressing over, something that's worrying them, or something that isn't going quite right. And then your solution is going to be how your character reacts to that and how that helps your reader understand the message, your purpose. What are you trying to teach your reader? Because whenever we read, we take a little piece of that book with us and it becomes part of our life, and we should always have some meaning to go along with the book that we're reading. And so when you're writing, think about that as being, as your role as the author. What is your reader supposed to learn from your story? Do they learn how to act, or do they learn how not to act? Maybe they do something kind of naughty. And so they have to get through that and learn a lesson themselves, which teaches us, the reader, the lesson that we're supposed to learn. So good job writing. Make sure you're checking your drafts for private comments from me. I'm trying to check in with everybody and reading all the stories and making sure that you're headed in the right direction. Also, use your rubric and your narrative text structure chart from our Tuesday lesson, because both of those pieces will help you make sure that you have all the pieces and parts that you need to get this story completed. All right, I hope you take care, and I will see you real soon. Bye, authors.